After about a few years of doing YouTube, I feel like I've come to an understanding about my audience. And it's that by and large, they don't like to read. So something I've provided is basically live reading for a lot of my audience. And I think this is the perfect topic to do a live reading for my audience for. I didn't know how to say this. Apparently it's called Dexerto. I thought it was Dexerto. Anyways, I know a lot of people don't like this site, and honestly, I don't really either. But one of the writers, Carver Fisher, reached out to me before Combo Breaker, and he wanted to interview me. And he, if you don't know him, he has interviewed a bunch of League of Legends pros, Faker. The list is infinitely long. Like, check out his stuff. And he was actually really, really diligent and really cool. He did a lot of research, and his interview questions were really, really good. So it's been 3 weeks or so after Combo Breaker, and he wasn't actually paid by Dexerto to do this. He did it on his own dime. He flew out to Combo Breaker, stayed there, did everything on his own. So I was really flattered to be part of that. Like the fact that he believed in my story enough to want to cover it on his own dime was really, really cool to me. So this is the article. I know a lot of people don't read Dexerto or read in general. So I figured I'd just read the article to you and maybe give some context after the fact. It's really long, but it's extremely well written. So I guess I'll probably timestamp the chapters, but sit back, relax, and listen to my voice. PhiDX. There's an article about me. Isn't that crazy? PhiDX, the man who risked everything to turn his passion for Tekken into a career. Also, the pictures of me look a lot better than, I thought. Like, usually I don't get good pictures taken. Though Tekken has been one of the most popular and well-known fighting game franchises for decades, Tekken 8's release has put the series on top of the world. Even in the so-called golden age of fighting games that's been ushered in over the past few years, this game stands out from the crowd. However, Tekken has always had a reputation as one of the hardest fighting games to get into. That third dimension adds a lot of depth, often forcing strong players from other fighting games to unlearn a lot of their old habits and build new ones. Not to mention how hard it is if it's your first game in the genre. PhiDX Lamb has taken this steep learning curve and turned it into an opportunity to change his life with Tekken by becoming a full-time YouTuber and streamer. With him going from being a small, relatively niche creator to teaching some of the biggest YouTubers in the world in a matter of weeks, you'd be forgiven for thinking Phi's story is an overnight success. But that couldn't be further from the truth. Chapter 1, Finding a Niche. We don't have to do that. PhiDX, like many creators before him, started as someone who made videos and streamed on the side while working a full-time job. It's a tough gig, and time invested doesn't exactly equal success. To make it, you've got to be doing something special. In an environment already saturated with content creators, standing out and finding your niche is a tall order. But instead of sticking with his early approach of hopping on games with large followings like League of Legends, Phi wanted to put a renewed focus on Tekken after falling in love with the game. So for years, Phi just uploaded when he could. He put out content and tried to figure out what really worked for him as a creator. Some videos would do poorly, some would do alright. But he wasn't really getting anywhere. That is, until former Tekken Pro Speedkicks helped him along and gave him some crucial advice. All he told me, this is a bit reductive, but this is how I said it in the interview, so it's fair. All he told me is, you need to upload. So I was like, well, shit, what do I do? We kind of arbitrarily came up with this goal of uploading every day, Phi explained. At the time, we were both watching Gotham Chess a lot, so my approach is entirely ripped off from Gotham Chess. Entirely. PhiDX described how he used the base of Gotham Chess's analytical style and applied it to fighting games. By putting together concise notes and adapting that style into something that fits fighting games, he finally found a formula that works. You guys are here, you know what my videos look like. Phi's approach to content creation makes Tekken easy to digest for players of all skill levels. This format allows him to review his own tournament matches as well, turning his competitive pursuits into videos and streams. Now, he's able to keep his identity as a competitor and turn that into content. However, finding this pipeline took a lot of trial and error, and some realizations that came to him before Tekken 8 launched. I tried daily uploads with the beta of Tekken 8, so I did a 72-hour stream. Every time I'd take a break from my stream, I'd go to the other room on my laptop and edit a clip. And I would post it. And I would just run back and forth. I felt like I entered, when people go on a retreat and they come back a different person, like a company retreat? That was where I felt the content creator high, where it was like, I'm doing this, I'm releasing it, I'm streaming, I'm doing it again. It was like a manic streaming episode for 72 hours, and I was so productive. I did sleep, but it was really fun. It did well, but I think that's when I found out people liked watching me talk about the game more than playing it. And this would lead Phi to a realization. He didn't just have to be confident in his gameplay. He had to be confident in himself. Many Tekken pros prioritize their skill level as a competitor over making videos and streaming. But Phi realized he could make a full-time job as a content creator work by banking on his personality and knowledge rather than relying on tournament results. So he invested everything into trying to carve out a space for himself. He saw a vision for what his career in Tekken could be, and he went all in on trying to realize it. And though Tekken 8's popularity helped, that isn't the only reason his channel blew up. Chapter 2. Luck is a mix of opportunity and the ability to take it. Pretty much any content creator will tell you that luck plays a huge factor in who ends up getting to the top of platforms like Twitch and YouTube. This doesn't mean the world's biggest creators don't deserve it, or that there aren't ways to game the algorithm, but luck is always a factor. Him going from around 17k subs before Tekken 8, launched to over 100k currently, was no coincidence. But the gambles he had to take in order to make content creation his full-time career were, even by his own admission, long shots. Two stories of his really stood out to me. The first of which involved him capitalizing on an event in a way no one else could have. Even before he devoted himself fully to being a Tekken YouTuber and streamer, PhiDX took a leap of faith. Thanks to being in contact with Nee, the man widely known as the god of Tekken, Phi found a way to make the most of the Evo Tekken 8 showcase in 2023. So this is where I first made contact with Nee. I bought 4 of his levers and I won ICFC with the 4th lever. I had 4 of the new Nee levers. 2 of them were the limited edition ones that ship with like the fucking NFT. And then 2 were the premium ones, like the mass production or the semi-mass production ones. I said like, you know, what's your secret? I have all these. And then Nee replied. It was funny. I'd been in contact with Nee on Twitter because I bought 4 of his premium levers branded with his name, and I won a tournament and took a picture with it and said, "What's your secret?" He laughed, said, "Thank you for supporting," and since then we've been loosely in contact. I used that contact to ask what hotel he'd be at, but I had no idea what their schedule was. My assumption was that I was going to go there and there was going to be a tournament, so I booked a flight. It turns out it's not a tournament, it's a Tekken 8 invitational. Oh, well, at least can I watch it? No, it was closed for cast and crew only. So great, I can't do anything. I was going to cancel my flight. I actually did cancel my flight and then rebooked it. But my plan became, well, if they're just there for an invitational in a game that they're not competing in, this was during Tekken 7, then nobody's going to take the brand new game that seriously, especially if they're trying to win the world championship or from the previous game for Tekken 7. That was my assumption, Phi explained. So I was like, okay, they're going to be playing one day and they're there for 4 days. They're probably going to be bored. So what if I showed up and just had a Tekken 7 setup? Sure, maybe I lose a day to the production's media day or warm-up day, but I bet I can get games with all these world legends. So this is a tweet I made at the time of an image of my hotel setup. So this was pretty cool. It was ramshackle, and there's more descriptions of it. Phi decided to book a flight with his PC in tow, ordered monitors and headphones from Amazon to ship to the hotel, only to have to deal with internet issues as he was forced to spend 18 hours on and off with customer support at the hotel to get it working again. This is facts. That said, he also got games in with big names like Nee and Arslan and Book, and made contact with some of the best players in the world, contacts that helped cement him as one of the biggest names in Tekken. I battled customer support for almost 12 hours and now I have to fight Arslan. Come on, man. He cooked me, bro. Arslan was shitting on me. It was insane. Despite being down a couple grand after just one weekend and experiencing egregious tech issues, jumping on this opportunity paid off. By the way, I shipped all this stuff to the hotel. Like I brought one monitor, but I shipped another monitor, the microphone stands and the headphones. And the lady at the desk like said she couldn't get it for me because the guy who can open the package locker left for the day. And this was at 3 p.m. So I was like, what? That doesn't make any sense at all. So I called again like at 8 p.m. I'm like, hey, I really, really need these. This is like an interview opportunity. There's like no other chance I can do this. Can you please help me get the package? And they were like, yeah, sure, no problem. So it was literally the lady at the desk who didn't want to help me. That was so insane to me. I literally just had to wait for another employee who got it for me immediately. That shit made me so angry. In addition to the internet issues, the internet in the whole hotel went down. And then when it went back up, my access point, specifically, like my room was in proximity to was slower. So I paid for the expensive internet. And when it came back online, I had like 0.01 upload speed and like 5 download speed. I was so angry. because I tested it before it went down and it went great. Okay, anyways. It was the craziest weekend and the weirdest gamble. All of my friends after the fact said, "You are so insane for that." But I really believed, and I had this naive, idiotic belief that it'd work. At all of these majors, it's so hard to get time with these players because they're focused on winning. I was like, I know they're going to be here. I know I don't have to get a visa to go to Pakistan, Korea. I don't have to go to Pakistan. I don't have to go to Korea. They're all here right now on the West Coast. Let me just pull up. And I was so glad I did. This is the tweet of me thanking. Look at, I was a mess, bro. Phi was beaming at this point. Even after a rough day one at Combo Breaker, it was easy to tell just how glad he was to be in the community and to have built relationships with these players. I think that's how things started moving up for me too. Afterwards, I came back home and did the Gotham chess style analysis of their matches. The stream was poppin', I got to network with them and have fun with them. That was a huge moment, but it was scary and expensive. This first gamble is the one that really earned him props in the Tekken community and gave him faith he could make it as a creator. But the second one is where he really took off. Chapter 3, Teaching the World How to Play Tekken. Coaching Tekken was something that came naturally to Phi, considering he's got years of experience coaching, both League of Legends and Tekken, but not because of years of competitive experience with Tekken or other games. This is another situation where I feel really lucky because since grade school, I'd help other people with homework, he explained. So like in high school, if I had a crush on a girl, I'd help her with her homework. My current girlfriend, we went to school together since kindergarten, and I helped her with her homework. I think that throughout that experience, I've always worked with people who were stressed out and tilted that they can't do like math. So my approach has always been to meet the listener where they're at. And I just try to find little things that help a little bit and stack wins rather than imposing a rigorous approach, which I think has its place. But I thought my strength was that I could really empathize with someone. They could trust me and then I could be hard on them later. Homework Riz, yeah. As it turned out, Phi's years of patience with others that refined his approach to teaching helped immensely with coaching. This skill, even compared to everything he ended up learning from playing Tekken for so long, would end up being the most important one for furthering his career. Most people who know PhiDX now learned about him through his coaching of some of the biggest content creators in the world. People with millions and millions of subscribers, Disguised Toast, Lily Pichu, a few RDC World members, the list goes on. But where did it start? It's not like Phi just came out of nowhere and started coaching people with massive followings without any prior connections, right? I saw a Discord message from Speedkicks and he said, "Boxbox is playing Tekken, do your thing." And I was like, why? What does that even mean? And then I went into his stream chat and I was like, he plays Asuka. I don't know anything about Asuka. Tekken's got a pretty wide roster of characters and they all have drastically different playstyles. In order for Phi to get his foot in the door here and start making connections with bigger creators, he'd have to hit the lab. That's a good picture of me, I like. Phi has spent countless hours practicing and owning his skills as a competitor. Everybody has, but you know. At the same time, Boxbox asked for coaching on Twitter, and Sajam was like, this isn't a direct quote, but this is how I remember it. "I can't coach you in Tekken, I'm not a Tekken guy, but I can recommend people." So it was a mix of me showing up in his chat and then his outreach on Twitter and Sajam's recommendation. But also, when he put out that Twitter thread, I didn't pitch myself. I went to my Discord and was like, even if I can never ask for anything from you guys again, I want you guys to tag me in the replies of this Twitter thread. Because Boxbox asked for coaching, and I was like, yeah, I can like reply, but like, what if a bunch of people were like, yo, get PhiDX? And just like that, Phi had some time booked with Boxbox and it was off to the races. Although Phi was pretty transparent about things not going as well as he would have liked in the beginning. We had our first coaching session, and it was actually one of the worst coaching sessions I've ever given, Phi lamented. Phi explained to me how his Tekken 7 knowledge of Asuka was getting in the way of how she plays in Tekken 8, and that he had to learn as he went. Yeah, so when I was coaching Boxbox, I didn't feel that same coaching flow that I've had in most of my coaching sessions. But I think part of it was being starstruck. But the other part of it too was for sure that there was like legacy knowledge that they just overwrote. So I was like misleading him in some situations and I felt really bad, but it ended up working out, right? That was the first time I'd coached in forever, but I think I just prioritized good vibes. These people want to learn Tekken, but I had no idea how long these people want to stick with it. I have no idea what their commitment is. I think I'd rather them just have fun than be like, oh, let me put you on a 6-month plan to become Tekken God. Little did we know Boxbox would become a serious grinder, like nonstop. It was awesome. And he still plays a bunch. Additionally, this first outing taught him a lot about the challenges of teaching people who have mastered the games they came from and helping them unlearn their habits. Boxbox was one of the best Riven players in the world for years when it came to League of Legends, and he's a top-level TFT player as well. But the mentality that earned him success in other games made teaching him Tekken a lot harder. I don't know if it was a lot harder, but it was definitely challenging. This is us. This is awesome. This is a crazy screenshot. What am I doing here? Box likes the game, but his brain likes to jump to cheese first. He asked me for setups and stuff, and I'd be like, oh, okay, he'll learn Tekken eventually, right? But I had to teach him through setups and why those setups don't work. It was so different than what I normally do. Teaching somebody who got good at their game, especially on their own, is very weird for me. I was always teaching people who had only played Tekken, like mid-level. They'd be like, how do I get better? Versus coaching somebody from another game who usually figures that game out themselves is a very different coaching experience. How do I not patronize them with info they may have figured out? How do I get them to trust me? That's a skill I had to develop. How to interact with former pros or former high-level players. Skara, Toast, all these really smart players who are looking for direction more than just they're a blank slate asking, what do I do? Despite PhiDX not feeling overly confident in his coaching skills in the moment, he and Box got along well, and the two of them kept going with coaching sessions. All the while, Box was nice enough to throw Phi raids when he wrapped up for the day. At this point in time, Phi had stepped away from his day job. Don't tell anybody. He morphed his entire schedule around coaching Box, sleep included, to try and capitalize on the opportunity. I was like, okay, I'm now going to copy his schedule and stream after him to catch all those raids. And that dude Box could stream for like 16 hours. So I would log on around hour 8 of his stream, and I was like, I'll be ready to stream when he's done. And I'd stay up. And I was interacting, coaching, and having fun, so it wasn't straight like clout fiending, but I was also like, this is an advantageous time to set up my stream. But at the same time, it's like, oh my god, he's still going. Box loves going like last game, and then just streaming for another 8 hours. That's not an exaggeration, by the way. This experience would lead him to working with a number of offline TV folks, as well as taking part in the Sajam Slam, an event that brought a bunch of streamers together and put them onto teams led by different coaches. Phi was the coach of one of those teams, and even if his team didn't perform the best at first, those who trained under him had a great time and a newfound passion for Tekken. Even as he was working on his own content, Phi dedicated a ton of time to tailoring custom, character-specific documents and training resources so everyone on his team could learn at their own pace. These people are so busy, I needed to have as many resources as possible for them so that when they feel like it and they have a moment, they can get something out of their training. I made Google Docs for everybody, I studied all their matchups in advance, and I actually recorded like small videos to demonstrate like punishes and things like that. I felt like I put in a good effort and made a good impression in terms of like, they got the idea that I wanted the best for them, to have fun and to win within their capability. With that, I think there was already in the air like, oh, he got the OTV team. Is he going to join OTV? Is he going to join Disguised? Sure enough, one thing led to another, and Phi naturally became a part of Disguised. That was me and Lily at the DSG tournament where I was commentating. I just stayed in contact with Lily very naturally. She just wanted to keep playing. We got along the best. I think we had the most fun. Saikuno reached out to me recently too because he wants to learn Reina. But he's also very busy. Toast is extremely busy, but has occasionally reached out as well. I just feel like I built good relationships with them, and I poured in a lot of time and energy. Bear in mind that Phi's coaching arc started a short time after quitting his day job. Don't tell anybody that. If he hadn't stepped away from the life he had before and into coaching and content creation, it's likely this wouldn't have happened. Actually, I didn't quit. I got laid off, but small detail. A combination of luck, effort, and sheer determination got Phi where he wanted to be. I set myself up well, and I felt like I put in more work than most people around me would. I got kind of lucky too, because I was able to do it full time. I really didn't want to waste that opportunity and that potential, so I was like, I'm going to throw all my energy at it, and if it doesn't work, at least I know I tried. And then down the line, Toast reached out. The path to being able to support himself as a full-time creator, one that specifically focuses on Tekken, wasn't exactly an easy one, but it was certainly rewarding, and it only came about as a result of a direct, concerted effort from Phi to make it happen. As we talked more about the game itself, it became clear that the mentality Phi gained through learning Tekken was a huge part of how he was able to pull all this off. Chapter 4, The Unrivaled Beauty of Tekken. This is Chapter 4, right? And I didn't miss anything. While Phi was succeeding before his journey working in Tekken full-time, it was more in the sense of having a stable job that put food on the table. He was exceedingly unhappy with the workplace grind. My immediate parents, I think they saw how hard I was working at conventional stuff and how unhappy I was. So they came around to be very supportive. I feel really lucky because I know plenty of people who don't get that. I feel very fortunate in many ways, and one of them is that my immediate family is very, very supportive. It wasn't always that way. While PhiDX has had his share of success as a competitor, beating big names like Chikarin, Evo Japan 2024 champion, and Arslan Ash in tournament, the biggest thing he seemed to gain from Tekken was a new mindset and outlook. He may be a fierce fighter, but he's all smiles as soon as the match is over. I've had a big problem of needing to accomplish something at any cost in my life. That definition would be vague and it'd change all the time, but it has existed forever, he lamented. I knew it was a flawed way of thinking, but I couldn't get out of it. Tekken was the first time I tasted the success of letting go of the need to succeed. Tekken, in a lot of ways, is a game that changed Phi's mindset, enough to allow him to take the risk that end up finding true success. The risks that would end up... That was a hard sentence. For reference, Tekken 8 especially, requires a lot more eating your vegetables than almost any other fighting game franchise. The process of gaining true mastery is a long one, and it's not always fun. Matchup knowledge is just as important as knowing how to pilot your character. And there are a lot of cases when learning Tekken where players lose simply because of a knowledge gap. You have to sit in training mode for hours and study the game intensely if you want to compete in the highest ranks. Failure is inevitable on the path to getting good at the game, and no amount of watching guides or doing high-level VOD review will tell you everything you need to know. Although it does help, seeing as Phi has made a career out of it. His change in mindset comes through clearly in his coaching. By eliminating the ideals behind the way you should find long-term success and aspiring to be better from day to day, Phi has managed to make a game like Tekken accessible for many people outside of the fighting game community, in a way that no other creator has. I stopped thinking about long-term intentionality a while ago. It was kind of built on the idea of the expectation of success. The more time I spent thinking about the long term, the more I'd set myself up for failure in many ways. I'd just start tweaking. It was important for me to set an arbitrary long-term goal and just buckle down. Phi's outlook on life being so close to the way he teaches Tekken, the fact that he's evolved away from shutting himself down when he hits a big obstacle, is a sentiment that becomes apparent to me the more and more we spoke. Being okay with failure and having fun with the process is essential. But the people he met on his path who have put their faith in him are also a crucial part of why he's so successful today. If you haven't seen this clip is fire. This clip is so cool. Check this out.
Fuck.
This is Sage M Slam 2. I'm the Lily on the right. This is an elimination point.
Oh. How did I win that? How did I win that? What the fuck? How did I win that?
How did that hit? They made it up for you from the last.
That was crazy. So that was an insane clip. I should have lost. People like Tone and Speedkicks who have consistently coached, practiced with, and supported Phi through competition. Wait, that's not a complete sentence. People like Tone and Speedkicks who have consistently coached, practiced with, and supported Phi through competition after competition. People like Disguised Toast, Boxbox, and Lily Pichu who trusted that he'd be the best teacher they could find. People like Arslan Ash, Nee, and all the other Tekken pros who have helped prop him up as a pillar of competitive and casual Tekken. Phi has given a lot to the Tekken community, but they've also given a lot back. That said, his growing YouTube following and time spent making content have certainly taken their toll. Chapter 5, Growing Pains. At an event like Combo Breaker, Phi is practically a celebrity. Getting from one side of the convention center to the other was a tall order considering how often he'd get stopped by his fans to sign something, or how often people would thank him for helping him learn the game. I enjoy positive attention a lot. Every time feels pretty fresh, for now. I'm sure everybody gets to the point where it becomes tiring or more work, but at this point in time, I enjoy most interactions I have with everybody. It took us forever to find these seats for the interview, but each time we were stopped, I was like, that was really cool. That was really cool. That was really cool. I have this weird thing where any game I play, I get really immersed in it, and things don't get old for me. And like, I can also like watch like the same movie like 5 times in a row and not get tired of it. I think that's really beneficial in this case where I can genuinely enjoy when people come up and say hi. However, his competitive side has started slipping. The reality is that making so much content and investing hours upon hours into teaching people how to play takes away from his own time to grind as a competitor. When asked whether or not becoming a full-time creator impacted his ability to compete, he had this to say. 700%. So the question was like, does this impact your ability to compete? And I said 700%, roughly. I've spent more time teaching people how to backdash and block punish than, for example, in my elimination match, building the muscle memory to sidestep right duck when Victor has plus frames. Right? These kinds of skills require not just research, but time under tension. Just like at the gym, time under the bar might be all you need. You might not need a new routine or new diet or anything like that. I just got to fight a ton of Victors to do the thing. And right now, even if I know it, I can't do it. For reference, this discussion came from just after Phi dropped out of Combo Breaker by losing to Ao, a Victor player. His loss and the adjustments he should have made were fresh in his mind, but he still made it to 33rd overall despite a crushing loss in pools that sent him to the lower bracket. Thus, Phi facing off against Ao, the player that ultimately knocked him out of Combo Breaker. That said, Al was a TWT finalist and has a ton of experience under his belt as one of Japan's best pros. There's no shame in losing to him, but Phi clearly wanted to push himself further, especially considering that he's repping Disguise now. Being represented by an org and gaining so much popularity in a short time put a lot of extra pressure on him to perform. So they asked me, does this make a difference? And I said, not 700%, but probably 100%. The pressure wasn't that bad, but it was pretty bad. And like nobody on the team is pressured. Like, so Carver asked very point blank, are there competitive expectations? Oh no, I asked Disguised, are there competitive expectations? And Disguised said to me, no, we want you to just be you, basically. They said they want me to pick which venture I think is best. But I am neurotic, so I will constantly be like, well, will I get re-signed if I play really poorly? What if I'm doing really well, but I'm on stream and it looks bad because I'm a content guy? That last part may sound strange, like something that make you ask yourself, how can you be playing well but look bad? That doesn't make any sense. He's got a knack for cheap characters. Lily's been his main in Tekken 8, and he played Noctis in Tekken 7. Neither character is exactly loved by the greater Tekken community, and there are those who go out of their way to make Phi feel bad for winning, claiming he's making it so far based solely on his character choice. I even thought of picking Steve to look better, which is not something a competitor should be thinking of ever. People just don't like Lily. I make one good Steve clip and it looks better than winning with Lily for the general public. They'd rather root for a cool character that loses than root for a character that's lame but wins. I think a competitor should never even engage with that thought process, not burn any energy at all debating it. But I do. I truly think I'm a content guy in that sense. A huge crowd would form around Phi anytime he was playing a match in pools. I didn't even realize the crowd was that big. That was pretty cool. This was out of pools also. Phi is the sort of person that travel across the country to an event to compete, only to retreat to his hotel room for the grand finals to live stream it and make YouTube content rather than being there to experience it. He's someone who will bend over backwards for the sake of putting together videos and streams. Deep down, I know gauging like my life priorities and everything is always a content angle. Like if I'm being 200% honest. I also put that very deep away to keep doing the reps and to motivate myself to compete because I know I can. But I have a core understanding of where I belong. Chapter 6? Is it chapter 6? Finding a future beyond Tekken? Now that Phi's established an identity for himself as someone who is, for all intents and purposes, the Tekken guy, finding ways to evolve past that is something he may have to do at some point. Though Tekken 8 is still thriving and there's a ton of hype behind the game even months after release, there may come a point where that isn't the case. When I started streaming in 2019, which was League of Legends, JRPGs, and then eventually Tekken, the plan was always go to Project L. When Project L comes out, have your platform ready because when that game comes out, you will be the educator, the guy to listen to. That was always the plan because I knew Tekken was small compared to like, say, League, Fortnite, Valorant. The Riot game ends up usually being the biggest game in the space. Doesn't dramatically destroy the numbers, but in that space, it ends up being the biggest game. So if fighting games are where I am and where my skill set lies, I should take the biggest game. But I didn't expect Tekken 8 to be so big, he explained. In this case, my adaptation to that is to continue to create as positive a platform as possible. Reddit and Twitter have the negativity covered. They've got that. Finding people who can play the game and enjoy my content is good. Am I concerned about Tekken dying off? Always, but not enough to stop doing it. I kind of have this naive, blind trust that I will figure something out. In the past, I'd let that looming threat stop me from doing anything. Out of anything I've learned in the last 5 years, I've learned to just do what's in front of you, have a loose idea of what's happening, and adjust if you need to. When I asked him about what he wants for the future, this is Carver, he just wants to keep on the grind. Sure, he could pivot to something else or try to capitalize on other games, and that's something he could still do with 2xKO, but Phi isn't after that for now. He loves what he does, and he wants to keep doing it. I think why I'm so happy lately, in the past 28, I can't even read my own quotes. I think that's why I'm so happy lately. In the past 28 years of being alive, this is the happiest I've ever been. And I think it's because I'm doing what I want to do. And the path forward is just to do it a little better. I'd love to keep making daily videos, hang out with my girlfriend, hopefully by then wife, and go to tournaments when they pop up and hang out with friends. I'm sure at some point I'll get bored. I'm sure at some point I'll be looking for something else. But for me right now, like, this is fantastic. I have so much gratitude that this is the position that life has decided to give me. I think that locking in on that gratitude is my top priority. My instinct is always what could be better. So I try really, really hard. My instinct is always what could be better? What's next? So I try really, really hard every time someone says hi, every time I get a nice win to be like, we're in a really good spot. 5 years from now, if the YouTube is just a bit bigger and competition's a bit better, that'd be cool with me. Hopefully my friends are still around and hopefully we're still chatting. That's my 5-year plan, is do it again, but better. If I get a nice big win that's really marketable, I'd love that too, but I don't lock in on that too hard. The process is what matters most. Loving the process, loving the struggle. To me, that's everything. And right now, I love the struggle. That's a fire article, isn't it? That took me like half an hour to read. I hope you guys enjoyed that. It was really long. And reading it was kind of a trip. But I think Carver did a great job of capturing my perspective and representing me very well. He took great pictures. Yeah, he gave me 2 interviews. So he worked on a lot of details and really crafted a really good piece. I was really, really happy with that. So give Carver a follow if you haven't already. I think even though Dexerto is has some whiffs, I think that he as a writer is very, very good. And I would like to see him do well. If you stuck around this long, appreciate you guys. If you came back and forth to revisit it, I appreciate that too. I don't think I'll see myself reading content more often, but hopefully you enjoyed that. And I'll catch you in the next video. Peace.